Hello, my friends. I hope you're all doing very well out there, staying safe. Good to see you, Queen Bee. Good to see you, Paint by Nate. And today, the crypto markets have gone wild. They have gone absolutely crazy. And as well, we've seen a couple of little things going on in the old GameStop, AMC, and whatnot. And since the markets have opened up quite recently, we'll start off with, well, it's tied between the two, you see, because I've got to talk about this here. I mean, this is crazy what's happened here in crypto land, and it's going on right now, live, you know? This is absolutely crazy. I mean, we've got things like Ethereum yesterday up there at 24-hour time frame here. Yesterday up there at the 3.5 grand area, having dropped all the way down to essentially 1.5 grand. You know, and this is the type of things which can send reverberations right across the markets. But I really want everybody to be aware of just the size of the numbers that we're talking about here happening so fast, and how things got out of control for a lot of people. And a lot of people right now will have lost a lot of money. So I feel for everybody out there that's lost money in crypto land at the minute. Absolutely do. So sending you my best wishes. Hi Scott. Thanks for saving my meager portfolio, says Sanjo Kojak there. You're welcome, my friend. We can't help everybody, right? We've got a community here which is absolutely fantastic, and of course we have been able to do pretty good during this, but I do feel really sorry. So I don't want to sit here and laugh. Now, there'll be people out there maybe who might have been like the types that call the tops and whatever, that go out and laugh and laugh and laugh. And I understand, like, there's a lot of pain out there for a lot of people right now that have lost money here in this thing. So I'm not going to laugh at anybody, okay? I'm not going to shame anybody as well. Who didn't take profits along the way, just in the same way that we don't shame people who do take profits, right? Sanjo Kojak donated $9.99 through Super Chat. Thanks for saving my meager portfolio. You're welcome, my friend. You know, and it's this sort of thing that we're talking about here. It's this sort of thing that we're talking about here. If we just go to Twitter and we open up my tweet from, was this trade spotting? It was very kind to say that I called the top again there. It's very nice to give me that accolade. You know, yes, what's the date today? That's right, it's the 19th. So on May the 17th, I said to everybody, don't come to me asking, what did you tell us in a week? Ethereum. And you can see the picture that I put up here with this big arrow. I don't know, it's kind of, I think that it speaks for itself, this picture. A picture says 1,000 words is something I like to say on the channel. We're talking like, you know, a lot of pain for a lot of people out there, right? So, but there's a message to be learned from all this as well. I mean, and we could be looking at bounces and everything else. It could be, I mean, this could be absolutely fantastic news for a lot of people in crypto as well. So so we'll just stay positive in general, right? We'll stay positive in general, but we'll not hurt anybody. Anyway, we've got GME today so far trading above 170. That's good. That's what we wanted to see. Remember, people, don't ever get too carried away. We are just the common ape after all, so we'll not get too carried away. And what did I say about the common ape? Well, the common ape's happy to see the prices of GME above 170. Okay, that's what the common ape's happy about. Over here in AMC land, well, of course, you had the hype train going mental, and people not being able to realize that, of course, you know, larger accounts especially would be taking profits in at that 1450 area. That's what a lot of them would have been doing. And then we've seen a bit of a pullback. Where did the pullback go down to? Well, it only went back down to the 1280 area that we were talking about. So that's just natural stuff. And this is the sort of thing we're seeing. You know, the markets were absolutely wild for the last couple of hours in the world. Well, for the last 12 hours, last whatever, that's been wild. And this is not a massive, you know, carry through effect overall to the other thing. What we're seeing here with MVIS as well, Microvision, having gone right down to one of the targets we put in yesterday. Now, that's not ideal, obviously, for like people that were going long on MVIS at this point, but we'd scoped it out, so at least we know that we're within, you know, the regions that we already talked about, you know, as we are with all of these things so far. You know, check on MVIS, and then you got Ethereum, and what can you say? And I can pop Bitcoin up there as well. And what can you say? Bitcoin currently sitting at 35,000. at the minute there for us. Having had a bit of a recovery from its 29,000 area. Now, we did talk about these things as well. And people out there as well wondering, a lot of people as well have been wondering, like, you know, why I've been talking a wee bit more about stocks and traditional stuff for the last wee while. And it's hard going, right? Because, you know, I'm trying to grow a channel over here, okay? And I called the tops and the bottoms in all of the major movements across the entire time that I've done this channel. It's and you can go back and watch all the content and see for yourself and all that. So but the channel's not like exploded, right? So the quality is kind of, you know, besides the point. What do people want with quality? So it's kind of like, maybe, you know, at times when I've been telling people like little things that haven't grown the channel, and then afterwards they've thought, oh, that was really great, that TA, you know, it doesn't get it in front of enough eyeballs, and then the channel doesn't grow, and then, you know, the quality doesn't just grow the channel in and of itself. So whenever it got to the points where it was like, well, okay, you know, it's going to be hard to keep talking positive about this thing at the minute, it was the ideal time to be talking about AMC, etc. So it was a nice time to kind of transition the channel a little bit into a broader scope, so that it didn't kind of water down the content with you know, by kind of pandering, if you like. Okay, I don't want to use such a strong word, but to an audience which I want to educate but won't listen to me unless I'm extremely exuberant and positive. Okay, it's a bit of a tough situation to be in. You can see me doing stuff on Twitter where I talk to people like Dan from Chart Champions, you know, back when he was saying, oh, like, you know, stand in the line against the Bitcoin, oh, we'll fight Elon and all this, trying to go long. You know, he changed his mind, but I says, hey, yeah, man, you'll be going short tomorrow. I mean, you can see this stuff that I talk about is out there in the world. If you're in the Discord, etc., you'll saw me talking about being excited to talk about the bear markets and stuff like that. Now, I want there to be I want the bull market to continue. We're still at the point where it can. In crypto, we're still at the point that it can in crypto. But I suppose one thing that I want to really take from the crypto chat today is for the whole audience, right? Because we've got a big group of space apes here, no matter what sort of discipline you came from, and to talk about these numbers here, just to talk about how if we go to the weekly chart, this weekly chart, okay, so this one candle here represents 1 week, and we look back and see where crypto market cap, you know, all of the market crap. Nice. Was that a Freudian slip? It wasn't. It really wasn't. So the market cap of crypto was up here at 2 weeks ago at 250. 2.58 trillion, right? And the price, the market cap of crypto has gone down to 1.2 trillion in the space of 2 weeks. Okay, so 2 weeks we saw the difference of. Is anybody good at maths out there? What's the difference between let's call it 2.6 trillion. What's the difference between 2.6 trillion and 1.2 trillion? I don't know. If you can do the maths there, that happened in the space of 2 weeks. You know, so we're talking about, when we talk about stonks and all the rest of it, then and can we see things happen in GME land, etc.? Is it possible to get big movements and all that? Then I just want you to remember that, you know, it is, like, in terms of, like, absolutely is. But what is this that we're seeing? What do we see here when this sort of thing happens? Well, let's just take a second to take a look, right, at something like, for instance, the Bitcoin chart here, and how this is really pushed down the way in this negative, you know, we've seen this pushing down, and what's happened is the prices have gone past certain key areas, okay, and as the prices have gone past key areas, we've seen that people have then had their stops hit, etc., and then it's then added to the liquidity, which has then pushed the prices further down, then taken out more stops, which then adds to the liquidity and pushes the price further down and adds to more stops as the liquidity, and ultimately, though, it's come in here at this and around about this market low. And this is the scenario which is kind of similar to what I was talking about in terms of, like, August time when we had this drop down, you know, the TA. In fact, all the videos and everything I put out recently have been kind of, you know, similar to the sort of constructs we're talking there, but this is across a bigger time frame, of course. And we've come down, and so far, you know, we've not broken the overall market structure that we were hoping to see remain in place, okay? But this was, of course, Wyckoff distribution. But this key point I'm really trying to make here is about the cascade that can happen, of course, when you've got people looking to do liquidity hunts, and it happens just as we spoke about there the other day. So everybody that kind of, like, pays sort of maybe perhaps attention to the channel to the extent that it tires them out will have obviously been aware of that. And this is the sort of cascade that can happen. So we can look at it across different things as well. I can see it in Ethereum. And if you want, that's the 24-hour time frame. So we can look at how this sort of thing can push down the way really, really, really quickly in a sort of uncontrollable way. Fast, right? Fast. So we've got the prices going here from $2,600 where they came down to a low, right? Okay, at this point. They then shocked down to $2,400 and bounced back up again. You can see the prices were within the hour back at $2,700. Okay, this is the prices at right. So starting story, they were $3,000. The prices dropped down to $2,600. Shocking, right? Loads of people losing loads of money there and getting wiped out of trades. We popped down here and the prices jumped back up again. What happened in around about 2,600, do you think, that pushed the prices down that way? This was, of course, this little liquidity push as we had the stops being hit, etc. Then the prices came back up the way. Great, groovy. That's, of course, this mixing round of the flow of the money as people take profits on some shorts. And then bang, they decided to hit it again and it pushed the prices down. And overall, and this is a very short period of time, just looking at today's price action alone, that's nothing else. Just looking back at today, looking at lunchtime to now in terms of where I am in the world, and it's 3 p.m. here. So just looking between that time there to now, you see the prices dropped all the way down to 1,800. And that's like if we were looking over here at GME, for instance, the prices were to go, to 300, etc. Oh, what am I saying here? Well, it's not that dissimilar to the sort of thing that we've seen happening here. That's the weekly time frame, so I scrolled way too far back for a second. What we see happening in this region, what happened? Well, the prices were here at $136. They pushed up to $450, back down to $133, etc. And then, of course, we saw this huge movement. Now, this sets everybody going crazy, right? Everyone goes and sees all this, and they set their hair on fire, and they think, a Citadel sorted things out, etc. Just want to show the types of things that can happen in markets, that you can maybe if you broaden out your perspective a little bit and understand a bit more about these things, you'll be more sort of prepared psychologically for when turmoil happens. When the shit hits the fan, you want to be there with your sort of apron on, right? Okay, cool. Nice one. So how's everybody doing? Nice to see you in there. And it's good to see everybody. It really is great to see everybody. Nice to have 131 concurrent viewers. Absolutely fantastic. AB Lopez. Oh, wow. Fantastic. It's good to see you. Good to see you back. Nice. Did we do with Outcroptician's name? Absolutely not. We're all Outcropticians here. We're all a big happy family. And that is what we are. Rocky Outcropticians, every single last one of us. Did you think the whole situation with GameStop is reflecting on everything? Says Angel Kurthoff. I don't know if you're putting that into context of something I was saying at a time. I was trying to kind of bring lessons out from, in a time like this, when of course there'll be people who are a bit late to the show talking about something, or a bit early to the show talking about something else in terms of laughing about stuff or trying to rewrite history. Instead, we'll just take the happy middle ground and start learning the lessons that we can from all of this happening now for us here. And I think the lessons as well, by the way, I know that I wasn't here for the actual market opening today, with regards to GME, AMC, Microvision and stuff like that. I hope that the things that I was talking about recently really just kind of stayed the course, okay? Because you're going to find a lot of volatility in the emotions that you find on well, in the world, right? Okay, just everywhere. So it's nice to have a kind of a broader perspective and kind of feel where we're going along at the minute. We obviously want to see this taking out the gap here in GME, getting back up to the 180 area. It's been ideal to finish up there, but there's we knew that when the prices came up towards the 189 area that was the next challenge, and that we were looking at resistance. We know that there's support here at the AMC, and we'll go and just dive into that a little bit. I really just wanted to deliver this message, and we can do and my crypto peeps, you really want me to come in here and do the TA in detail, etc., like I usually do, then just keep on turning up to the channel and everything else and ask me to do this sort of stuff, and I will. But let's just try and remain calm and think about the lessons that we've learned with all the trading that we've been doing for the last year and everything else. And we'll just keep our head screwed on all over it, right? Okay, and we'll let the sort of the initial sort of whirlwind pass through. We're in the eye of the hurricane at the minute, okay? So this little wedge that we're seeing on GME, will we get a bit of positivity out of that and push towards the top side? Would be nice to see. Of course, I could draw a picture around it, but I'll not. Are we seeing this beginnings of a trend for the day? You know, in the 3-minute time frame on AMC, we did have this gap down. Then we found a sort of low in it around about this area. As you can see in the chart there, it says it actually at 1263 pushed up to get a high at 1340, coming in here. Then therefore higher low at 1269, 1270 region. Then can we push up? Well, we do have the ADX showing us that, of course, that was right for a turnaround at that point, and we know that the sort of and we know that the sort of the launch pad for all of this was back up there. So we are still looking back up towards the $13-14 region. But there's huge things happening in the world at the minute in terms of the money flowing around. And the people that are invested in this these days, there's no point in trying to sort of separate it out and box people off anymore. That was kind of a meme of 2020 or meme of sort of 2017 time. And I do call them traditional versus crypto myself, but in the not too distant future, it'll just be considered trading, especially whenever sort of blockchain absorbs, you know, we get T+0 and all that on stocks. But it'll go back to just everything will just become trading again, you know. Maybe some new thing will be invented in the future, and crypto will be part of traditional, and there'll be some traditional and something else, you know, whatever. Why am I talking about that? No idea. Whatever. Let's get up to let's just bring up a couple of charts then, just real quick then. GME, what were we talking about before, and all that? Well, we had the go down to the 4 hour time frame. We had this zone in this region here marked off between sort of 220, and you saw I'd actually deleted, if you watched yesterday's live stream, my boxes, and I was like, remind me to hit to undo, and I'll put them back on. Well, nobody reminded me, and I forgot, and now they're gone forever. But anyway, I had this drawing in here. You got yourself to blame there. The good TA is gone. It's gone. We'll never be able to recreate it. It's one of these things. Ugh, if only we knew how. We had this region in here. We'll just do it with sort of green sausages. This is going to be our resistance area up above. You know, that's the liquidity zone for us to push through and try and rebase up above, or rebase, but like establish a base up there. That'd be nice. Now we got rejected from that zone. That's what just typically happens. There is a range to be traded. There was a movement. There was a pattern which we were kind of looking to try and break out of in this region here, and we did, you know, and that's great. Now we're trending towards the top side, and we have this up and downward channel. Got lows in there, remember, back at 137, highs then at 153, lows at 140, highs at 160, lows at 150, highs at 180, lows at 160, highs at 190, lows at 170. So, like, you know, everything's looking dandy there with this pullback if we can just see things continue up the way. It would be nice if we'd been able to continue to sort of consolidate right on the cusp of that level. Looking at this on the 15-minute time frame, we talk about the sort of the fuel station that you have, where you park your rocket and you kind of fill up with fuel if you're looking to try and consolidate at a level of resistance. Okay, well, we came up and we weren't able to just like stick it out there during this period and push up today, but something kind of had to give. We did see the diminishing volume. Looking at these oscillators down below, the bearish divergence that was there is clear, but what we've got the benefit of this is that so far this is actually a higher low overall. MACD showing a lower low. Turnaround from this point will get you a hidden bullish divergence on the RSI and the MACD. The volatility is very high in terms of the historical volatility indicator. That's showing us, like, it's at the same time on the DMI we have, of course, this strength of trend coming down the way in the period of when it crossed. Now there is the potential, of course, for this to get another chunk down the way, and that's just because this is a 15-minute time frame. Let's be kind of fair to the prices. The 4-hour time frame shows that we've got high low etc. here, but we came in for a double bottom, and anything really staying in this above this zone overall is super duper. It's a super, you know, overall we get this continuation towards the top side, and that would be what we want to see. So we have got scope, we've got scope and breathing room, etc. Just remember, of course, that there's like this sort of huge volatility. Now I am expecting and hoping and everything else to see things moving towards the top side, and we'll see it happening when it happens, at the time that it happens, if it happens, right? Great, groovy, fantastic. Moving over to AMC real quick then, and just taking a closer look at this one, we can see with a bit more detail where the prices have come on down to on this, and it is in at around about this green box over here. So low, that's great. The wick went right down to that yellow line that was in the middle of that box. Okay dokie. So everything's going to go along with what the charts would suggest is fine. We've seen the movement up towards the top here coming in at our resistance point, so we have to re-acknowledge what was previously support as being resistance. So that's how this whole gig works, really, in terms of what we're doing here. here, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we're looking for. So I could apply a narrative to this if I want to overall. This zone is what we need to stay above. It depends on what particular narrative you want to put in. I could be really excited right now and be talking about how we're above the sort of 1250 zone, and that's really great and super bullish. What a buy BTFD, buy the dip zone. Could talk like that, and that's cool because that would be fine. You know, that's one thing to talk about. That's totally fine. Or I could also talk like super cautious about the importance of being able to be aware of like where the prices could move to if they did push past this zone, and they have to be like, we have to be honest with things and say that in terms of this larger structure, like we just did with GME, you got some lows over here, you got some highs over here, you got some lows over here, you got some highs over here, and then if things go around, then whatever. So that's just, you know, that's how these things can happen, and that's why we've got these lines left remaining on the charts down here at around about that 1070 area. And I'm not calling for it to go to 1070, etc. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just pointing out the risk here and talking about certain factors. What I want to see is it going up the way. I'm not really analyzing this in the 15-minute time frame to say what's going to happen right here and right now in this minute in time. I'm just talking about the broader picture and how we should really kind of remember, you know, to keep our heads screwed on, because there's sort of brothers in arms out there, if you like, that are looking at things in the world, like for instance over here in the total market cap for crypto, and seeing that there's trillions of dollars, like $1.2 trillion wiped off the markets in the space of 2 weeks. In the space of a day, you've got $70 billion being wiped off the markets. And when I say day, I mean like 3 hours, right? So you know, that's what can happen, and what we want to see happening is this to happen numerous times towards the top side when we look at these two sort of stocks. Now, of course, there's plenty to be kind of thought about in terms of like which one's the better setup, etc. with GME and AMC. I'm looking at both of them at the meantime for various different reasons, because I think that they've both got decent plays on, and it all fits inside the risk management strategy. Now, with MVIS, this is a decent area for us to be looking at, for it to have come back down to. I'm glad that it moved down to this area, and if I'm looking at that and saying that I'm glad that it moved down to this area, that was decent. Now we can maybe get a movement towards the top side, which is like in line with having, you know, burnt off all of the negative that we needed to. We kind of put up to the extreme areas, and now we can pull back down the way and actually see a crossover and get some positive trend in action and build up towards the top side and have the organic, you know, speculative momentum along with us to actually take out the next area towards the top side. This could be quite healthy. It's the middle of the week though, and a lot of people will have bought options that were, cheap at the start of the week that now look like they're much more expensive than they anticipated them being, and that's pain. Okay, so I understand that. So what we need to see the prices with Microvision moving back up above 15 before we know that we're in a position to start feeling more positive about all of this. But then when we do, then great. Okay, this is fine. It's as long as we stay above the $14, then I'm pretty happy overall with this one. Really, and that's where we stand with it. So then when you look back at GME, then it does put it into context, you know, like to remember, like so long as we're above this 170 area, I'm pretty happy with it. You know, I'm looking up towards 180 and thinking great, groovy. I'm not going to get too excited, just as I am just the common ape over here. So I'm not going to get too excited when we get up to 180 about what's happening next until we really push past 190s and into 200s. Being aware that 220 is another zone where if we see price action going along in the same sort of a format that we've had for the last couple of weeks, that maybe we get another sort of a sort of inflection zone at that time. With AMC, I'm looking at it saying, yo, I'm happy enough to see it here above this key area. This is fine. This has happened now, and we can accept that happened. If this was crypto land, then what people would call this is a BART. The thing about crypto is a lot of people don't realize that everything's as old as the hills, and everything you see in crypto happens in everything you see in crypto happens in the traditional worlds. Everything you see in the traditional worlds happens in crypto. Be that manipulation, be that Bart Simpson patterns. Now, if you're from the traditional world, you might not recognize this pattern, but of course, this is the Bart Simpson pattern here. That's his hairline, and of course, this would be his face. So I'll just show you if you haven't seen it before. So a lot of traditional people, of course, not seen this. This is a meme from this is a meme from crypto trading world, and it looks like this is a good laugh, right? So this is something, and you talk about this as being like, oh, this is a function of having low liquidity and all these other sorts of things and the effect on the market and yada 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 yada, and people like to go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about things as if there's some sort of fundamental basis that we can talk about that makes one thing distinct from another and yada yada, when in actual fact, you know, everything in trading is as old as the hills and nothing will ever change. So to a small extent, I mean, it's not maybe as crazy obvious as the crypto ones are, and maybe that goes some way towards explaining what's happened here. But of course, if you want to talk about what's happened on AMC on that chart, I can label it up for you here, right? It's called, they've got two different zones, and this is how I talk about Bart Simpson's. You got that one and that zone, really, and what you have them called is over here is called the don't have a cow man zone, right? That's what that is on the left, is the don't have a cow man one. And of course, you can definitely guess what this one is. Can you guess what the right hand zone would be called in the Bart Simpson pattern? That's right, it's called eat my shorts. Right, so you've got that happening just there, okay? So these things happen across all markets. So why am I kind of hammering on this? Why is this a sort of somewhat abstract episode today for everybody? It's because I want you to remember that when you talk about how is something feasible or not, we talked about this, and this is a calm way of kind of as well reminding people like what TradeSpot said in yesterday's episode, and it was absolutely fantastic, wasn't it? It was absolutely fantastic. Where he's talking about how we can crush this towards the top side, right? And how it can really, how things can really go, like, and go and go. And what we've been talking about recently is about how things can really go, and how you can have multiple short squeezes along the way if you want to talk, if you want to sort of break it down into detail and do it in piecemeal, or etc. And this is just me reminding you that that's what we want to see happening towards the top side. And it's not like it doesn't happen towards the top side. It's not like it doesn't happen towards the top side, okay? So you've got this looking thing out here in the 15-minute time frame. Just jumping back up towards the 24-hour time frame. You know, look at the fantastic moves that there's been in the past. Like whoosh and then retracement, whoosh and retracement, whoosh and retracement. When market forces purely take over, then it's absolutely wonderful. Now, I'm a believer, of course, that technical analysis is the only thing that's actually worth doing. This is why you don't really see me spending much time talking about AMC's shares. Like, for instance, how many AMC shares are there? Well, we know that there's that 500 million AMC shares, etc., yada yada. You know, how many people who were shorting Ethereum were taking profits down there at those peaks as well? It's not like here in this Ethereum chart when the prices went down to 1500 that everybody and their mother was longing it from that price, and it was everybody's buys down here which shot the prices back up $1,000 up above. Okay, so the prices have moved up here, as you can see. What's it today? What's this recovery? Who's good at maths out there? So we've seen prices in Ethereum move up today 66%. Wow, fantastic for a lot of people. Now, it's not everybody was doing that down there, you know, but some people will have, and they'll be doing, and you know, so it's not, whenever the price of GME, for instance, goes to 19.5 million, it's not going to be everybody that's selling it there. And unfortunately, even though you're sat there watching this now, it's probably just going to be me on my own doing it. But you know, we've got things like that. And why would I talk about these things as like, oh, it's just going to be me on my own, you know, as the drawings sort of almost miraculously appear back on screen and the arrow points down to it? I don't know why I'd be talking about that, but you obviously, you know, when we're looking here and saying this guy doesn't even have 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, and what are we looking at? Anyway, I guess I kind of want to really reiterate how I don't want people coming to me asking, what did you tell us in a week? Because that was last week. Right? Effectively, or whatever, you know, it's still this week, I guess, in a sense, but it's like we've been over it, it's old ground or whatever. It's like it's time to kind of get on board. It's what I'm saying, it's kind of time to get on board in that sense or whatever. So if you want to, so we've kind of been over it, trotting ground. So so nice and calmly talking about how I'm looking forward to these things happening. I want this to be a wedge that gets a nice movement back up the way. I'm happy to see things, as the common ape is, of course, at around $180. That super makes me happy. It makes me me happy to see things at $200, makes me happy to see things at $220, and so forth. And I'm going to be patient. I'm going to be happy as well to see trillions of dollars moving around, and I'm going to be okay with the fact that those numbers are really, really big, right? Like, you know, we have to be okay with things. Like, I'm sat here and I'm not screaming at you about how the market's lost $1.2 trillion in 2 weeks. Okay, $1.2 trillion in 2 weeks, right? So for a lot of people, that's a lot of numbers. What does $1.2 trillion look like? What does it actually look like? Yeah, so something like, I know it's a lot of money. Okay, so it's something like this. And what size billion are they? This is $1 trillion. So just to put things into perspective, I know it's hard to understand, right? So that's 100,000, that little bit at that guy's feet, right? So just to put things into context, right? This is what, just so everybody can kind of follow along with when I talk about big numbers and how it takes time for your brain to get this. Let's just kind of help speed that process along a bit. There's 100 grand at the guy's feet. That's what $1 million looks like at the guy's feet, right? Here we have him standing there next to a lot more money. Now this is $1 billion, right, next to that dude, and here he is standing next to $1 trillion. Do you understand? So let's just go back the way. Let's just go back the way. There he is standing next to $1 trillion. There's a guy. He's down there. It's not very big, and there's a lot of boxes next to him. Okay, a lot of them. It's like it's even harder to find anything in that than that Indiana Jones warehouse, right? It's lots of boxes in there. Lots of them. There he is next to $10 billion. I get a bit bigger. There he is next to $1 billion. Scrolling on down the way, and there he is. And that's what $10,000 looks like. And there's he standing next to 100,000. Just so there you go. So that's the. So when you think, oh, $100,000, that's a million. What about $100 million? Wow, look at that big stack of $100 million. This is how much money was knocked off of Bitcoin. More than this, 20% more than this in the space of 2 weeks. So when we talk about money moving around, and I stay calm and I don't scream about things, and I kind of, it's like maybe it doesn't, so what we're looking to do is try and say something, combine knowledge like this with acceptance, with acceptance of this, with awareness of this into the bigger picture stuff, and hopefully we get some positivity over here with it. Now if we don't, in the long run, there's always going to be another opportunity just waiting around the corner for us. Always will be. This here is my most fun thing at the minute because I get to be just one of the monkeys in the trees enjoying stuff along the way, right? Look at that from Griffin. I'll let the computer read it out. Let the computer read it out. Right. Is she going to do it? Right. Thanks so much, man. Celebratory hands in the air. That's so nice to hear these things being read out for the first time. So that's called celebratory hands in the air. Absolutely. Celebratory hands in the air. Right back to you, Griffin. I mean, I'm so glad that you asked that. It was not a stupid question. You see, there's no such thing as stupid questions. I was actually annoyed at you for calling yourself stupid in that response. I was a bit passionate in my answer. It's good that. Nice to see everybody in here anyway. It's lovely to see people chatting away, and I'm really pleased to see the likes of, Apple Blossom. Love to see you. Goblin Attorney, Worthy is Life, AB Lopez. Really is really great to see you again, AB, by the way. I hope you've been keeping well. It's fantastic to have you back. Such a friendly guy. I really do like you. Bad Mama Jama, let's go. We said earlier on. Great to see you. Jay Williams, fantastic. Isabel, Isbilly Channel. Oh, Isbilly Channel. That's interesting. Somebody shared it on Warden's channel. I wonder what that is. Odin said, Rocky, don't change Rocky, TradeSpawn. This is good shit. You're building a community. If you build it, they will come. Absolutely. They will come. They will come. They will come, and we've been here for so long that when they do come, it won't be that they're arriving to Portaloos and all the rest of it in this community. No, they'll be coming and they'll be pissing in our golden toilets. It'll be absolutely lovely. Jeff Badford, only 10 likes, people. I can't believe there's only 10 likes. I choose not to believe there's only 10 likes. I mean, that's just crazy. So Shane Coombe coming in saying 103, let's go. I choose to believe it's more like 103. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Mass Spectrometer says Rocky. Yes, nice one. Queen Bee says slap the like. Isaiah giving me a little friendly face there with a hand beside it. I wonder what she would read that one out like. Smiling face with hand. I don't know. Smiling hand, smiling waving face. That's what she said Apple Blossom. Mikey Webb, changing my name to Crypto Cuck after that one. Sheesh. Okay, cool. Well, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to take it as positive because that's what I just do. Right, so we have the screens open there. So shall we get down to sort of Chinatown now? Let's kind of talk a wee bit about let's bring in a little bit of drama to the show. Let's bring a bit of drama to the show for a second or two. That was all cam, too cam, wasn't it? Too cam, definitely. Let's just jump down a bit to the 1 minute chart and talk about the what we call this one. What was that? Vietnam had numbers for hill names. This is Hill 1266, right? Oh my God, the battle for 12, the Hill 1266. Can we maintain the battle for? Well, actually, we can't call it 1266 because we're already suffering here. Oh, hey, great, El Diablo Barbarido. Thanks so much for that. We need Discord if sites go down during MOAS. Keep eyes on volatility index as well to the moon. Dilling. I shouldn't have read that. That was a long time ago that I set myself up for you to say that, Apple Blossom. Right. Okay. Gosh. Well, I tell you what, everybody, it's tea time with Rocky. You know, tea, that's fine, have coffee. My question to you out there today is, are you drinking tea or coffee? Or what? What is it? Or is it whiskey? Maybe you're eyeballing vodka at the minute. For those of you who are not from Scotland, you might not realize that you can actually consume alcohol through your eyeballs. Of course, it's a jovial weekend pastime for us here. Apple Blossom, we can't hear. Whoa, yes you can. Surely you can. The computer's too quiet. The computer's too quiet. Ah, the blooming computer's too quiet. Ah, well, that's good then, because she was reading out and I was just reading out, and bloody computer will shut her mouth. Right. Sorry. That's cool, because I read it out anyway. AB Lopez, increase the bot volume. Increase the bot volume. Yo, robot, I want you to speak a bit louder. How do we get the, so we have this alert box thing, right, on Streamlabs, and what you do is you double tap on alert box, and then you go over to something in here, and there's a way you can increase the volume, but you really only have, it's funny thing with these settings here in what you call it, Streamlabs, is that you only really have about 10 seconds more before you run out of pay. Oh, sorry, can't do it. I couldn't figure it out in time. Coffee, says Odin. Fantastic. Chin Chin. Digger M says Starbucks. We've got coffee over there from LC. Excellent. Tease Johnson, do you have any options in AMC, Rocky? No, I don't have options in AMC at the minute. Woof. Gosh, no, we're going to have to name this the Battle of 1250 or something like that. I mean, like the 1266. Yeah, the Battle of 1250. Let's just hope that how about I take it? How about I just continue to take it easy and let the sort of the, even though we're in drama stations and we know the battle's going on, I'll just let all of the work that we've already done in advance kind of do the talking for me on screen, shall I? Because you can see it there anyway. And of course, everybody that's part of this community for the last wee while knows I drew this in ages ago. So yeah, do I have any options? No, I don't have any options in it. I'm just holding the shares. Just holding the shares, yo. It's because I might get some, but I wouldn't be getting any options that expire within a week at the minute. Not myself. There is no retracements on these folks. Bye. There we go, says Shenkum. I like it. It's called willful ignorance. That's right. It's called blind ignorance. I like it. I buy into it. No such things as retracements on these folks. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I agree. Exactly. Screw it. 5% ain't nothing. You see, the thing is, of course, the last time, yeah, no, we're totally fine here. This is fine. I'm liking it down here. If I wasn't doing this show right now or whatever, and I'd had more things, I'd be like wanting to trade in it around about this area. I have to say, but I'd be wanting also to be aware of the fact that while there is uncertainty in the air, there's blood in the water. That attempts to sort of knife catch as you're doing these things can work out badly. Cool. And on this one here, I'm not ever going to sell any of my shares, so I'm not really planning on doing much. Particularly, just funny talking with Griffin's talking about risk management earlier. I'm not really doing much risk management when it comes to my AMC and my GME holdings. My risk management is is we're going to the moon, and that's that kind of, you know. Woo. So so I wouldn't be wanting to just like, you know, sort of, if I was day trading this though, you know, I'd be thinking, hey, how are we going to manage things in it around about this area? Is there really going to be a bounce or not? Like, and looking at this and saying, um and saying the increase over the DMI here at this 40 line, you know, not ideal. My line might not be exact where this is, but I'm not eager to rush into a trade on this right now. Essentially, is what I'm saying at this in this minute time frame, which is great because that's great, right? It's great. It's just like, you know, be aware of that. That's what a lot of people will be thinking. You know, that's just all it is. It's all that's happening. There is no why. Everybody wants to look. I talk about this in the channel from time to time, and there's only one good quote about this that explains it, in my opinion. You know, it's like it's that one which I'm actually, full disclosure, trying to actually remember and articulate in my head properly before I go and say it. It's not for us to question why, it is for us to do and die. I got there 90% of the quote accuracy on that one, but the whole point being there that you don't really ask the why. Now people are going to want to know why is this happening, and there'll be plenty of reasons for it, like China did X, Y, and Z with crypto, or Elon Musk had a baby or something like that. There'll be a reason, and everybody will get it afterwards. If you want to populate in the Discord the sort of the traditional news section with reasons post fact, then that's cool. We can do that. I'm really just wanted to see this move around here. You know, I'd be tempted to trade it here if it thingy, but I'd be managing my risk really tightly with the presumption that if we did pop down the way, I might get, you know, just some other idea on the go, and I'll just wait it out. But this is what I'm hoping to see. We can get a bounce from. So we'll call it the Battle of 1250. Battle of 1250, Hill 1250. Shane Coombe, 1, 2, 3, 51 to go. Let's get 100%. Like. Do Rocky a favor. He's given his time. Cost nothing for a like. Man, really appreciate it. That's absolutely it. That's absolutely it. Couldn't have said it better myself. Another someone donated $10. Thanks for doing this. You're welcome. Okay, so you can see where temptation would lead you astray here with this, because obviously, you know, bit of a dump there down to just a sudden one down to 1230. We're trying to remain overall more or less calm with what we're seeing here. Yes, there's been a pullback at the minute here on this one. Yes, it's happening. Yes, we're struggling here. Now you don't, you know, this is maybe it's Hamburger Hill. Maybe this is what this turns out to be, or whatever. And we don't want it to turn out to be Alamo. And if it is Alamo, we want it to be a winning victory. But the fact that the prices are down here at the minute isn't outlandish or anything like that. This is just what we have to accept. This is a 24-hour time frame. Things could even go all the way down to 1070, etc. Now, I'm not feeling like I want to be short on this thing. You can see that there's like positivity here and the diminishing negativity. You can see all the way in this chunk here. So like I want that to continue, but I'm going to have to accept that the markets will as the markets do, of course. Nice to see you, Trace Spotting. Nice to see you, John Travolta. What a name, by the way. What about the Wyckoff distribution theory about Bitcoin? Any thoughts, Rocky? Well, I mean, do you mean the thing that I was talking about yesterday? Or was it the day before? It was the day before, right? It was the day before yesterday. You mean the thing we were talking about the day before yesterday? Is that right? Yeah, it was the thing we were talking about then. I think it was the thing we were talking about the day before yesterday that the other guy had on his YouTube channel. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, essentially, the story is as I said then, right? So we'll just jump back over here to take Bitcoin as example, jumping up towards the 2-day time frame, and just doing this kind of thing here and saying there's a degree of structure in there which we have to acknowledge. We know that this area here, of course, was very much distribution. We had bearish divergent tops, all three of them. We of course saw this follow through down here. We were targeting 42k region, you know, in terms of, if I drawn that in just a little bit high, no, that's perfect. We're targeting in this area, saying that might be your best buy area. If not, which it obviously has not been, you know, for a move up the way. If not, then of course we're looking down towards here. Then at this point, if we bounce up and take out these points of structure, so we've got actually got, oh wow, CC, thanks so much, 1999, super appreciate it. So if we could take out 1, 2, 3 here, you know, we've got three ways to get increasing positivity along the way, 3 ways to get highs towards the top side, which might lead up to a higher high on these oscillators which could actually, be beneficial for us overall. Like if we come in here and close out and turn around, then you've got a low here in the stochastics, dragging that over. If we turn around from this point, we've got hidden bullish divergence. And then, of course, we had the bearish divergence previously, but now we'll have a few instances along the way to kind of be taken out structurally, these regions, and as well to then go back up and ultimately challenge this, which, of course, this is just on the stochastics. You could do the same thing on everything else, which, of course, was the region at which we had our, our previous high, right? So if we take out those zones, and that being our last high on the stochastics there, or the initial impulse up before the zone that we dropped down, before we had, of course, the swing failure in here, which is in it around about the time that I published my video about swing failures and all that sort of jazz, as we talked about that. Then you go up, and then, of course, Wyckoff distribution in the long run of things would ultimately be seen as whatever you want to class something like this. Now, what do you want to class this? What do you want to class it as? What do you want to class it as? This type of idea where you go up and drop down and then go up again overall without taking out the most important structural zone. I mean, what do you class that? Ultimately, we look back at that whole region as being a sort of accumulation. The sort of an account A here had X%, and everyone else had everything else, and then it wanted to get over to this point here and have X plus whatever percent. This is really bad drawing, so that doesn't work. And then we got it from people in here in the liquidity by forcing the issue. It's how big accounts operate, and that's what happens if they change their mind. Right? If they change their mind, because it's their prerogative, it's people's prerogative, it's the market's prerogative. When I say they, I'm anthropomorphizing something that, an entity which doesn't exist as a sort of single corporeal thing. What I'm talking about is just this, is in terms of psychology overall, whatever sort of soft terminology you want to use for things. Essentially, at this point here, they have done a great job. They've achieved this down here. Doesn't meet their goals and satisfaction. Are they looking to just go down and capitalize and push past it, or do they want to go up at this point here? We wait and see, kind of, because we don't have the power to affect anything, so we have to wait and see. But we've not taken that area out, which means that we're still on for being able to turn around the way. And under Wyckoff, you would expect to see some sort of a bounce. So you might have thought that was happening in at that region, but you probably maybe, you can see one at this region. Of course, in crypto land, everything's so fast that if this was in a traditional market, you'd have had a candle down like this, and then you'd have had a bounce up even just to here. So are we going to constitute this as being the bounce up? And there's like a million different ways to skin a fish. So we're not going to get into the detail, like, even on the 4 hour time frame, you don't have it looking like a bounce. Even on the 3 hour, on the 2 hour time frame, you got this bounce here. Is this going to be like your Wyckoff distribution? No, like, suddenly we're in a completely different world of, like, massive amounts. So back up to the 24 hour time frame, where you can see this distribution happening quite easily, looking at this point and saying, do we get a bounce up the way? And then at that case, you're looking at your structure again. It's the same as what we're looking at here in terms of the downside. Can we take out that region? And maybe doing something like this makes it a little bit easier for you to see. If I just flip it over, as you can see here, if this was a bottom of a market, if this was a market bottom coming down here, and we were putting in these lows, low, and then we're also putting in bullish divergence, because of course there was bearish divergence there, so flip the chart around. Then we came to this region, and of course we took out this high. Of course you'd be looking at that and saying, well, neckline, etc., target for head and shoulders, we've met the target, yada yada. So how do you want to talk about it? There's a million different ways of doing it. Wyckoff was just introducing. Wyckoff was saying to somebody who was looking at it like this, who was blind, who knew nothing, and was explaining all this stuff out. And it was a really good point to be bringing up the other day. At this point here, it's like, again, it's like it's sort of like it's sort of like when you've been reading a book and you've gone 10 pages, right? And then your brain's snapped back on and you've realized you haven't read anything in the last 10, but you've looked, your eyeballs have moved and you've changed the page at the appropriate time, but you've completely forgotten everything. And that's what you're saying to me. You're like going, hey, Rocky, man, would you mind going back 10 pages in the book? It just wasn't really with you at the time. And it's like, okay, man, but it's like at the expense of every other viewer on the channel right now. I don't know. So I did that anyway. Cool. Aaron left for Mussins, returned to Jamie. Well, okay, Jamie's actually sat over there at the minute. Don't tell anyone. I've got. I'm. I'm being live audited by Jamie, and that he's here. Better not say. Oh no. Oh no. Andy's in the chat. Someone sent me the clip of Network where the dude gets in the same place and starts screaming he is mad as hell and isn't going to take it anymore. That's right. Such a good one. It's such a good one. That's what I knew, of course. That's what I knew as well that Jimmy was referring at the time, or felt like that. I'm mad as hell. I want you to get up and I want you to go over to your windows and lean out and shout, I'm mad as hell. And I'm not going to take it anymore. What a movie. Way great. So everyone else is thinking of Michael Douglas in Falling Down. What an amazing movie as well, Falling Down. I just want to go, just want to see my family. Oh, wow. Yeah, great stuff. Excellent movie references there. What do you want to talk about, fellas and gentlemen, or ladies and gents? Do we want to talk about the how Bitcoin's came back up to 37, 38 grand, fell down the way? We're getting this question mark in here. Wait. What do we want? What we want to talk about is, in terms of crypto, how since this here, in terms of the drop down the way, is of course 50% of the market value, 50% of the value of crypto being wiped out in 2 weeks. Maybe we want to talk about the last time 50% was wiped out, because August, it wasn't 50%, it was 20%. For example, these pullbacks over here, they were, of course, 20%. This here is like Dow theory, with the 50% wiping off of the amounts. What do we think about it? And do we think there any similarities to what we've got in here at all with these movements down? I'm not, wanting to say that there necessarily is or isn't, but what was maybe wise to be aware of over the next while, especially if those out there who love to hold, catch a knife, is that if you were thinking about knife catching in this zone back here, when COVID crash, etc., and this was of course a brilliant buy area, but you did see the prices retrace back down significant chunks in the immediate aftermath. I just want people to remember here. So just if you were to have been looking at this back then, and you were thinking how frustrating the magnet button is. No, sorry. If you were thinking from this low to this high, what's going on overall? We did have a 618 retracement thereafter, okay? Just so you remember, just so you know that in the periods of volatility, that volatility can sometimes, really screw people both directions, right? Both directions. So this is the commonly used phrase amongst long-time traders for these market conditions is ripe for fuckery. Okay, if you're ever watching anybody else on YouTube and they ever say, oh, things are ripe for fuckery, then it's kind of maybe describing something like this. That's what that means. Do we have confidence in Bitcoin support here? Will it go to new all-time high from here? Okay, so will it go on to a new all-time high from here is, of course, the impossible question. In many respects, you could call it the $3 trillion question if you liked. You could. And bearing in mind that we were down at 1.2 trillion today, and at lows, and we're at 1.5 trillion at the minute. You're talking about, could we go up? Could we see this happen? Could we see it happen? And that's kind of what I was wanting to kind of talk about there, is that we've seen this big shock happen and there was big pullbacks. Now, what we want to see is, like, if we're confident. So your first part of your question there was, do we have confidence in the BTC support here? Now, one of the ways that we could get confidence in the Bitcoin support here would be that if at any given point after we do see any sorts of rises up, etc., that we're able to maintain it on any sort of second question that we could be asked. Now, given the volatility that we've seen here in terms of that cap, there's so much. There's no way to pick a number out of the air when looking at the total market cap talking about this here right now. Instead, we could kind of talk about it on the Bitcoin chart itself, since you're asking about Bitcoin anyway. And we could talk about from the low up to, if this was as high as we went today, then we'd be saying, can we maintain $32,000 area over the next wee while? In which case, the confidence is not there, because you're talking about a 10 to 20%, 10, 15% drop in prices, which would obviously, you know, cause a lot of havoc. And the fear sort of oscillator, which is obviously up like this at the minute, where it would drop back down and go whoop right back to where it was again, you know, sort of idea. So we're waiting to see how that goes. And as well, the question, the answer to the second part of your question is, will we go into a new all-time high from here, comes into a number of questions, like a number of ways of answering that. And maybe the way to answer that at the minute is to bring up that picture. I mean, can you remember, by the way, when I talked about this, because this is something that was really important, and I did talk about it quite a bit, and that just to understand the difference between numbers. Like, I mean, to a lot of people, this is life changing amount of number, that one we square, and you can see then how like in terms of the big numbers, right? You can see it's like you need to be able to sort of have that in your head, understand that in your head, right? It's just it's a thing. It's a thing. You'll get it over time. Wyckoff, it wasn't Wyckoff, it was Richard Wyckoff, so it's the wrong one. Mind you, I do often say people's names Richard Wyckoff or Richard when they're not. A la Leeson yesterday. Distribution. Let's just get up that picture. Distribution. So as you can see here, this is kind of scopes this concept out for you in terms of the distribution. So like this, if it was a bottom I was showing you before, and then of course we came up to these highs, and that's where you're asking. This is the come on, just show me the top one. So this is your top one, blah 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 blah, and we've got the market structure areas, and then we've come down towards them there, and we're seeing, can we get a bounce at some point, etc. And this is the idea that I was trying to explain when I was looking at the charts just a second ago, buddy. So when I was saying, if this was, you know, I said, like, if this was on the 20, you know, if this was visible in the 24-hour time frame, but it's happening so rapidly, etc., maybe this would look like we'd had a green candle already, you know, if that was a red and this was a green. And then, you know, in that sense, maybe this is kind of like that end part of this, even here at the phase D phase, where it's like, oh, there's your last gasp, etc. And then there'd be an argument even just to be making that we're in this slow phase just here. You know, there's that argument to be made that we've just crashed down to it as well. So like, that's all just kind of theory. As you can see, there's this big peak over here, and you know, you could be making the assessment based on starting it off and saying, well, that's where we were there, etc., yada yada, and we've just come back down to those lows now with that. So have we got confidence in it or not is too broad a question, you know. There is the argument to be made that I would grow my YouTube channel quicker by just kind of like chucking an answer out there for you, but I've given you the actual, I'm trying to give you the actual answer, and the actual answer is that when you see, for example, right, this is Bitcoin 24-hour chart. The Bitcoin prices are up 25% today, is how it is for some people, but those people are the type of people who are aware that it's up 25% in a market that's a counter trend trade, and we would obviously be looking to kind of, you know, take profit on that at some point. We have to see things like taking out these highs over here. So like, you want to be taking out those highs with any sort of retrace you get. So going back over to the diagram, this bump up here gets nowhere near any of these highs. It's just in these crappy section here. So you want to be hoping that we're in this area, right, or this area, and that we can push past some of these highs so that we can start to get more confident again. Overall, that does look like it is. Overall, that does look like it's far more to do with this chunk at the top, and that we've broken down the way. In which case, you know, you would say no, but I actually you have to be realistic here. This is significant, a really significant zone. In fact, this was the last time it looked like we might be breaking out of the parabolic curve. Overall, I could make the argument that no, we're not confident in it because we've broken the parabola from before. You could make that argument. Talk about the parabolic trend from time to time and how these things go and how you can get the old curve tool out and that, but it's extremely subjective. I feel like I'm spending too long on this one already, so I'll try and not spend too long on it anymore. Where is the curve tool? You can do this sort of thing here just in general, just to kind of, you know, just as a rough chat and say, look, we've broken outside of this, and at these points here, then, you know, we're looking and asking, are we going to then trend down the way? And people would then say that you could be trending down 80% or so, somewhere between 80 and 90%. And if we do that, then we go down and we fill in the CME gap at 10k, and ultimately that's what I said. It's what I said would happen in the markets when we were in the Discord. Not you and I, but Tony, are you still here? You could vouch for this. When we were in the markets over here, actually, I said it. I think maybe here. I said at this point here. I think I said that what we'll see happen on Bitcoin is that right now, or that generally speaking, okay. And that seems like really broad structure stuff, but you only get to people are only going to talk about it after the fact. All right, now we're at 36 night. Yeah, whatever. So back over to the other charts. How are we doing with these other guys? So that's so we're below 170 on GME. That's not ideal. I want to see us take the common ape is happy above 170, right? So right now we're like, oh damn it, okay, damn it. But when we get back above 170 again, we'll be like groovy, 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 groovy. Okay. Over here, AMC has had this sort of little sort of, dare I say, BART type formation that happens where you had volatility, boom, up, bang across, back down again. That's just how these things often go. And that's where we are right now, right? That's just it. So I'll just bring up the bigger screen actually with AMC. We can see how the battle for 1250 Hamburger Hill's going. Yeek. There. 5-minute chart. Auto. Oh, I've got it inverted, do I? Super confused for a second there. What? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we the middle ground there was lost. We come down here. So this is where I really want to see us saving it. If we go past here, well, then the next target, I wouldn't be buying it at the sort of 12-15 area. Although dare I say that, and then it goes down there and bounces up, whatever. It's just talk about risk here, and like the risk that you're buying there. Well, if I get proven wrong, so what is the risk that you're buying? You're better off buying it within the zone for that risk. If you're buying the risk of us going back up towards the top side there within this region, or being more patient if you're only looking on the long side here and waiting for either 1150 or indeed what happens in that zone, and if we go down the way, if we go down towards 10 or so. But that could be it. That could be what happens over the next wee while. But in terms of the here and now, the best buy in terms of risk is this low. What was the low overall? 1228. But so my box was out by a penny. But this type of idea, whatever, this is what we're looking to. We don't need to split hairs over pennies. And the next target towards the top side is back where we gapped down to this morning. In around about that 1270 to 1280 region. That's what we want to see happen on AMC. We're hoping to hold this out throughout the sort of the American non-lunch. In the UK, markets do take a lunch break, by the way. It lasts for 2 minutes. That's right. It's a 2-minute lunch break in the United Kingdom. It's the sort of thing that a lot of Americans know. Ron River, dump fast if you don't want to lose anymore. Digger M, like battle for Hamburger Hill. That's right. That's what we're hoping for here. This is obviously being fairly bloody at the minute, right? It's fairly bloody at the minute, but what we hope to see happen is just for this here to, well, actually, I do that in badly. I just was wanting to be lazy and not use the lines, but we want this to be kind of like a wedge here in this tiny little time frame. Just tighten up, bring us back up towards the top. Use the girth that we got from our initial thrust down the way. That would give us the sort of impetus to go back up the way. If we can actually end up over here for the day, I'm fairly happy overall. If that doesn't happen, then of course what I meant was that your risk increases exponentially when you're down there. There could be a fake out territory. I mean, I talk about this about 1,000 different ways. It really depends on what fits into people's brains, so I talk about it one way, then I talk about it another. It's the same story. All roads lead to Rome. Overall, GME then, meantime, in terms of it's like what we're hoping to see happen is well, obviously this is fairly low, so I want to see some bullish divergence on this low, which pushed past this point over here, bringing up the oscillators, and I'm not getting it right here in the RSI right now. This low is lower than the previous low, so that's not ideal in the first instance, right? I'm working down working down the way just in terms of those. So what we're seeing just here is that, okay, there was a bit of divergence on the stochastics. We obviously need to keep this going. That's pretty decent though. It's pretty decent. Giving us up at least the risk management area for us. We've got a low just in here that's obviously lower in and it's obviously lower, so it's fine. So like that's where we stand right now. So there's this negativity, but at least we know that there's a zone here that's like sort of like you wouldn't want to be taking out your previous low because it confirms, it goes along with the convergence on the other oscillators. If we kind of take the stochastic cross as our sort of our idea and that and we're trading it in the meantime, then you'd be looking along the lines of this sort of a thing. And we don't need to be getting any more greedy than looking back up towards the top side. Now, nobody out there that I'm talking to out here that's looking at this is actually trading it like this, but you can take these lessons for the things that you do trade, you know, on the companies that you're not like deliberately trying to send to the moon by just hodling, etc. So if you were looking over at something else like XRP and you wanted to trade on something else like that, for example, you can use these sorts of lessons to do it. Nice things to be aware of in terms of support and whether or not it holds is just this kind of concepts that we're seeing in terms of short-term timeframes. This is very short-term, but all of this volatility happened on a short-term, and that we could, if you were to have longed all these assets from the lows, I would be looking up towards, you know, for example, on here on XRP to 140. You know, it'd be 140, but then this area here is quite likely to fail, given that the trend that we're looking at, if we're going to be saying that there's a trend on screen, this is 5-minute time frame, is obviously to the downside, and that would be where you'd be looking to take profit at on any of these moves if you're going to ride this up. Okay, so like that's, and why is that? Well, because the risk of moves going up past that zone increases exponentially beyond that point. There's obviously logarithmic gains to be had along the way, you know, between these areas after a certain point in time in terms of like your risk to reward potential, where suddenly, like, you know, you're looking for an extra 5 cents, and that 5 cents is like actually 90% more risky than the 5 cents between, say, 35 and 40, for example. You know, that type of idea, and that's how you'd be looking at it in here, and that's how you'd be trading at, and that's how you do things. So like, just like, you know, when you're looking at the other chart, and I'm just dropping in a lesson, you know, you're going to have some people in the world think that I'm shilling or some crap like that, when actually, you know, we all obviously, as a group of disconnected individuals with no actual way of actually doing anything, which is contrary to the rules, we just want to be able to individually hold this thing because we believe that it could go even higher, etc., yada yada, you know, and all the things that you need to be aware of. That if I found myself saying, I would feel like I was compromising not only my ethics but also the rules on YouTube. But overall, you know, looking for this to go up towards the top side, and when it gets there, if I see some sort of inflection, I'm not going to worry about it. It's only when I do become worried after we get an expression of this divergence, which took us down to previous resistance. Because, like, look, you know, bearish divergence at those tops, bearish divergence at those tops here between these two areas. If I didn't have the magnet button on, that'd be so much easier. Bearish divergence at those tops, coming back down to these areas, and then you don't want to be, like, you know, really taking out the support. So we actually did move down below it. Short-term time frame, bigger term time frame, it's just a little wick, you know, and actually we've not really taken out the support just here quite as yet on that one, for example. Why have I not got a countdown timer on screen? Anyway, the most recent price action is within this hour, so we want to see that pushing back up the way. Cool. Everybody good? Let me just check in with the chat, see if I've not missed anything too much. Jackadema says, hey yo, could you take a look at gold USD? What are you hoping to see on gold at the minute, everybody? Gold USD, that's funny that you say that. Welcome, my crypto brethren. So you want to look up gold? Easiest way to look up gold is type in gold. Nice. We quick tip. And what we're seeing here is if only anybody had asked me to take a look at gold over the last wee while, wouldn't it have been good to have been asked to take a look at gold? Wouldn't it have been good to take a look at gold? Jumping up to the 24-hour time frame and showing you this. Yeah, we loved gold at those prices. Gold isn't those prices anymore. It's moved up towards the top side. Why has it done it? Well, we've had this this whole phase of upward price action coincides with, of course, the shakiness in other markets that we've seen, and we've seen that expressed fully today. Lovely move up the ways. People have gone into the safe haven asset. Peter Schiff must be like absolutely dancing at the minute. Can we push on higher up and etc. etc.? Well, we have done a really good job taking out this. We've got a higher high. I'm happy to see this closing just where it is. You know, if we do actually trace down towards the downside, let me just pop on something here. Have we got some moving averages? What am I using here? What's the style in these ones? Okay, cool, great. Yeah, make them visible, please. Make them visible. Yeah, look at that. So we've taken out the 200 simple, which is at the top of this, and we've worked back down to that area. This phase of the market, this channel that I have, don't want to see gold breaking back down below that, push up towards the top side. Targets for gold at this stage, you know, we've obviously come in and taken a few of them out. Let me just show you. Obviously, the 618, etc., it's happened. There's a previous high. That's down to the low. We've got the 618. That's what we don't want to be taking back out again. Obviously, having come up towards the 786, then you know the story. You've seen the Fibonacci analysis a whole load of times. Why else is that area going to have confluence? I'll give you a couple of seconds to guess if you haven't already. So take it in from the low up to the high, then you can see that the 236 is coming in here below that. So, you know, taking back out the 618, etc., and moving into that zone and taking out the 200 simple would, of course, be creating a valid Fibonacci. Then we'd be looking to see, can we come back and actually no retrace, not any more than down into the 50% of that Fibonacci channel. And of course, you know, here just towards this region would be okay. 1750s would be a good rebuy if we did push down past 1830. Looking for 1830 if we do go down there to be the next bounce area. We're the 21 EMA or the 18. What have I got that set to at the minute? 18 indeed. Where the 18 would maybe be coming in at around about 21.18. Doesn't really matter. This region would be fine to see a bounce at if it does need to pull back down the way. Next targets though actually exist on higher up. Really they do like from the high that we had, from the high that we had, which is leading down towards this zone. This has been since gold actually peaked out back in August 2020. So we've seen a couple of funny things happen while in Bitcoin land. So we talked about this region over here. This one here quite a bit in today's show as well. The August time in Bitcoin and the total market cap, etc. And I saw the big drawdown that you saw in prices. Well, actually, as well, ever since that period when this happened, gold, what did gold do? Well, gold actually broke on past that zone, okay? It broke on past that zone and went on down even further. So on the gold chart here, since this period, we had the pullback and we didn't get a bounce. So this was 8th of August, down here towards the sort of 22nd of September. We came down to these lows, okay? And then we went up. And we didn't take out this region just here. Whereas over on like Bitcoin, when we went down, we did. Well, it got a bit confusing for a while, but we trended and then we burst past it, and gold was unable to do so. So gold is kind of recovering at the minute still. You know, it's been on a downward trend for the last year. Okay, the guts of a year, most of a year. So we have the Fibonacci that gives us targets up higher up. They're totally reasonable to look to, and I'm happy to again to look towards $1,950. When things start to get exciting for gold is actually when it pushes past up to when it gets up past that zone again, right? Because if we go up to this zone, you see it here in the charts. If we got to that zone and then turn around, then what are we doing? You know, you've got 1, 2, you've got 1, 2, 3, and then what would you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, or actually IV I should have done, right? So you'd have had that. That's what would happen if it turns around at that zone. However, we go up and we do a retrace up as high as a 786. Very different story. And then you're starting to talk about harmonics and things like that as well along the way. So there'd be other things that we could talk about later on down the line. For now, let's celebrate the fact that we're outside of this, you know, year-long downtrend, breaking out of it now. Very, very good. We obviously got in at around about the hearts. We're happy to see if it pulls back down to 1830. Looking to long this, continue up the way. Aware that the next area, if this notion is not the potion for the love potion for us, then what we're looking is saying, well, if the 618 has a big turnaround and we pull back from there and then take out that region, which is where we're currently looking at, and around about 1850 and so on, right? Okay, so that'll do you fair enough for now in terms of this. Like, just be aware of little things along the way. Obviously we're in the oversold territory as well, but we're doing it quite nicely. There is the potential for sort of head and shoulders type notions on that MACD, but I don't really buy into that concept too much myself. The fact of the matter is that until we've really taken out the previous high, like I was talking about, so until we get up to the 786, we're lined up for hidden bearish divergence, right? Which would be the disappointment factor of not taking out the 618 and going on down the way. So until we take out the 786 in price, we're going to see RSI continue to move up, and therefore we'd be guaranteed for bearish divergence until we see the price action lead the way. So price is king as ever, and then you follow it on with these other things, right? Fan dabby dozy. And well, I guess trades type attitude about this is it's above 70 on the RSI, for example. So really strong, which is true, and we are looking up for what, another somewhere like 5-10% move up the way, happy, before we even start to question if we're going to be the end of the trend. Ooh, and Ethereum pulling back up the way to here. So that's really good. Really, really good. Really, really good. Okay, so there's some really good stuff there. I could go into detail about it, but right. So that's enough of that. Nobody was very interested in gold, as you have it, turns out. Not looking for massive TA, but have you heard of ERDSL? What do you think? ERDSL. ERSDL. Oops. What do I think? I think it's not been around for very long. It's been around a while. And we're waiting to see, aren't we? I've explained it all. I've explained it all. And the current price line just shows you it's just a picture says 1,000 words, right? Here we are. X marks the spot. Can it go up from there? If not, then whoa, it's not looking good. I mean, but we're waiting for the markets. This is going to be carried. That'll be carried along with the markets, given that it's low cap coin nobody's heard of. It's going to be carried along by the markets. Griffin, your Discord link is missing. Ah, gosh, damn. Well, I've got a solution. Discord. And Nightbot, you going to help me out there? Did I spell that wrong, maybe? Has it got a H in it? Nah. Nightbot doesn't want to help. Okay, I'll get you one. Nope. There we have it. Thanks, Nightbot. Right. Oh, we're at 170 on GME. So the Common Ape has put its smile back on again. Okay, so we were just trying to be calm and wait for the prices to go back up above 170 on GME. How's the battle for 1250 Hill going? We want to see us trying to get back to 1250. Obviously. But we're aware of the fact that, of course, coming down to these low ends at around about 1220 is, oh, there we have it. So that's good. We're back up above. Battle for 1250 is most certainly on. Excellent stuff. Nice. Okay, so now we come back down again as well during this past 5 minutes towards that 1250 area. So you can see then that's where we are, right? So I could kind of 1 minute really stretch it out, the play-by-plays, and try and get everybody super hyped. But we know where we're looking to. If we go up towards that zone, that's good enough for us to be happy with in terms of passing it over towards the post-lunchtime crew. Okay, really, that's where we want to take it. The morning session, and the morning session is the all-important session in America. Overall, so if we can end up here, morning session isn't even actually a word. It doesn't really make sense. Don't let me add something to your vocabulary that's not really true. But the morning is I want to see that. That's what I want to see. That's what I'm waiting to see. That's what I'm hoping to see. It's what I'm expecting to see. All those sorts of words. It's what I'm predicting to see. It's what my crystal ball says I'm going to see. I've got tapped into the future. I've tapped into the future here, and I'm spitting the future at you, and it's guaranteed. And I'm not a financial advisor. And if you were to trade off with somebody on YouTube's advice, then God help you. But I am a YouTube advisor, and this is the best YouTube channel on the YouTubes. Right, so good one. Nice one. Thanks so much. Shane Coombe, Discord title in there. Right, let me just chill out with the chat for a wee bit, right? Let's chill out for the chat for a wee bit and see what people are talking about. See if we can get some chitter chatter on the go. TradeSpot, and I saw the clip of your stream last night blowing up on Reddit. People love it. Having known you for as long as I have, I know that it's genuine and not an act. There we have it. Confirmation. Absolutely. Isn't it brilliant, man? It's great, isn't it? Scott, you'll have watched that as I did myself, right? Knowing the guy, and what is it? There's a Paulo Coelho. Some people really like him. Quote, which is that when you are on the path to your destiny, the world will conspire to your success, right? And it's great because when you're being true to yourself and all the rest of it, authentic, it resonates with people, and I think that all ties together really well. Nice one. The most humble channel as well. Oh, that's fantastic. I don't know if you're talking about me or if you're talking about TradeSpot. I don't really care. I hope you're talking about TradeSpot. And I didn't say that to win humble points. I don't know. Bit of a one of those sort of in a cloud. Stop flying, right? Instead of a hole, stop digging. Marius G. Rocky Outcrop. Hi, Rocky. Trying to learn TA. Is there a suggested chart time frame to look at regularly, i.e., like 5 minute, 2 minute? When you're trying to learn technical analysis, it depends. The ideal time frame to look at is 4 hour candles and above, and to trade on the back of the 1 minute time frame is probably going to result in you losing money, and not because of anything being very different about the 1 minute and the 12 hour and everything else. It's just that you're not going to have all day to make your decisions, right? So that's a big part of it when you start off and you talk about learning, and a lot of things that people don't really seem to realize about that. So I think that's probably worth mentioning. Another thing that's worth mentioning about it is that you probably want to time your to actually is to be aware. Try and be self-aware. Try and be mindful when you're trading. If you're trading on the 1 minute time frame, you're looking to take profit on the 1 minute time frame. I mean, it's funny. It's like what I could do right now if I could sit on the 1 minute time frame here with AMC and just do play by plays all day, every day. Would you be taking profit on those moves now? So we're not talking about taking profit on AMC because we've got this sort of mission on the go or whatever. I say we in a sort of metaphorical sense, or the royal we. I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm not a figurehead for some sort of community or any social media manipulation thing. No way, that'd be ridiculous, especially with my viewer numbers. But anyway, the royal we is that what we're doing is holding on to this because I and all my split personalities would really love to take down Citadel and see that $30 billion assets get redistributed out back to a bunch of apes in the world. So we're not doing that, but you can see how you're able to learn here, but you're not taking profit off of this TA at what's one of my reason like at $270, for instance, up here, or $20. Sorry, you're not doing any of that. What you're doing is you're looking and saying, "Oh, I'm happy to see it go back up 40 cents, etc." So it depends. Are you mindful about things? Are you aware of what you're doing? Because if you are, if you aren't, it depends on how you're answering that question, man. It really does. Jokadimus, could you take a look at gold? That's cool. I've read that one. So I've not missed. Nobody's said anything directly to me that I've missed out in a wee while. A Zen mind is like humility. The moment you think I've got it, you've lost it. That's it. So that's so true. That Dabian 13 alls, greeting Rocky. Jimmy sent me here. Says you're a stonk genius. Thanks so much, Dabian. I don't know. I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say that I would be a stonk genius. There's something I talk about in the channel here, which is that for all of us, it's about your aspirations as a person and what you want to do. If you want to be perfect, then all power to you, and I wish you the very best. However, we don't. We just want to be very good, right? Because very, very good is is so good. It's very good. I mean, if you can be very good, it's like, I'll tell you the feeling you get when you think I'm very good. It feels so good. Okay. I don't actually mind. I don't mind. I don't want to aim for perfect. And one of the reasons I don't aim for perfect and all the rest of it and that, or sort of genius or any of that, would be because it's impossible to get there, right? So what you'll happen is you'll have this chart and it'll go very good, very, very, very good up to a very top point, and then it'll go from being very good to bad, and it won't actually get to perfect. And I think it would say the same thing about sort of like that. So I would remain humble, and for anybody watching the channel, I wouldn't aspire to be like the very best trader in the world. Don't think like that. Don't think you want to be number one or anything like that. There's no point. Just be very, very good and be happy with the results, and you'll be live a good life. If you can help anybody else along the way, then that's a good thing too. Thanks, Rocky. I'm on board versus Citadel, but I'm looking long term, learning the TA. Right. Well, exactly. So you can learn TA on a short term time frame, but you're going to have, if you're learning the TA vicariously, be careful to learn it in an atmosphere which is conducive to actually learning, as opposed to everything being, just kind of like washing over you. A lot of people find that they only learn when they make mistakes, which is an unfortunate way to be overall. Just be aware that the things that I talk about here on these time frames are talked about on all time frames, all of them. A skillful trader isn't somebody who's very good at reading one time frame. It's actually about, and that's why you'll see so much of this type of stuff on YouTube, to be honest with you, is because somebody who can do good stuff on the 1 minute time frame may well be completely crap at actually linking the time frames together and actually having been able to see the story across all the different time frames. It's about understanding it. To be honest, when it gets to the point where you find it difficult to even to articulate what it is going on, because you can see the full story all at once, and it's like Neo from the Matrix and all the lines are going in front of your face, then you're doing all right. In between times, if you find yourself boxing yourself in and asking questions like which one's it best to learn on, then that's good. Like, you're learning on something. It's good. It's like, it's what baby slope is it the best to learn to ski on, and then you go and you want to go into a black slope later on. You kind of have to go into you have to kind of like progress throughout. So you need to be good at everything, and to understand the connections between it all. Okay, and that takes years, man. It takes years. So anyway, you're speeding up your learning by being here for a big set, massively speeding up your learning by being here. But just be aware that what a lot of people do is they don't manage to actually take what they've to actually see it across the time frames. Okay, this is what you need to do. Otherwise, otherwise you're going to be caught out by BARTs, etc. Otherwise, for as a simple example, like the prices went up, the prices came down, they put in this wedge over here. This is just the 2 minute time frame, and all of that happened on my screen all at once. So how do you chart that out on the 2 minute time frame, etc.? And you go up to the 4 hour time frame. Go up to the 4 hour time frame. It looks slightly different. Up to this point here, you can't see today's price actions behind all my drawings just there, but up to this point here, of course, you had this wedge. Okay, so you could learn all about pattern trading, and then you could, if you wanted to combine the two of them together, and then you see that this is like as that panned out exactly, or you could just simply have been looking at our profit taking line, the horizontal line. I mean, it depends, right? And the information gets so overwhelming so quickly. So really what you need to do is to learn how to learn and create all these different kind of all the different connections in your brain. It's called oh god, I wish Simon Pratchett was here because he could tell me the name of it again. The book by the guy Erickson, the guy that did 10,000 hours. These patterns that you get in your brain where you remember stuff better, and it help. Anyway, whatever. Mass spectrometer. That's chatting with Tracepoint. Excellent. Eddie Brock. Hey, thanks again for your help the other day. Shared the other day's video with my dad. He brushed it off. He did, but he did see it. Lol. Cool. Okay. I mean, well, that's fine. I mean, the guy's old enough to know better, isn't he? He lost a bit of money on a stock, and it's up to him, man. It's up to him, right? It's up to him. Stop fucking with my inheritance, yo. Neural networks Neural networks, says the Zig. Neural networks. Yeah, you do need to have these neural networks, right? And you do need to have, what I was talking about there is like, chess players, right? Chess players, they can tell what's going on at any given time by looking at the board, because they've got these thousands of different mental representations of what's going on. So they build the mental framework. So like, yes, you need it in terms of like the sort of the biochemical or the cellular level and all that. It's like, yeah, it's synapses, all that. You need to create the synapses, and that's kind of like thinking about it in terms of like the wiring of it. But in terms of like, your sort of in your brain, how you kind of process that information, what you need to have is all these different mental representations, like the chess player that can look at the board, and not only can the chess player look at the board, he can think like what he would do to try and win, and what the opposition might do to try and prevent him from winning, and how he would negotiate himself through that passage to get to winning. And 96% of people in the markets lose because they can't do that. And you need to have that process. So like, you need to look at it and understand the full mental frameworks, and to not be overwhelmed when you're doing it, because our little brains have only got these wee tubes to take everything in through, and it can get clogged up super quick. So you need to have these mental representations in your head. And he has a name from in his book, this guy Anderson, or whatever he's called, Erickson, Anders Erickson, yeah, right, I don't know. Chuck Norris. You don't get better than a donation from Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris donations kick all other donations in the face. I just wanted to say thank you to you both for your and your bro. Hey Jamie, Chuck Norris says thanks. He's up there. Is the camera up there?
Welcome, Chuck.
Oh wait, I don't. Could he see you there? I think he probably could. Yeah, just say it again.
You're welcome, Chuck.
Very cool. Nice one. Goblin says, I totally saw Jamie do that yesterday when talking about how one low on GME looked sloppy, and weak compared to another that looked primed for takeoff. Wasn't obvious to noobs. Yeah, so it's kind of like, yeah, exactly, right? So you're playing chess, right? You don't want to lose any of your pieces, obviously. And we all talk kind of like, haha, yeah, you can just lose a pawn. What's a pawn? Whatever. Right, but sometimes as a chess player, you're going to have to like move your knight into position, and you don't want to lose your knight, right? But sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice your knight or sacrifice your bishop or whatever, right, to get these things to happen, to get to where you want to get to in the end. So it's so as if you were to be good at chess. Now, I wish I was good at chess, like, and I'm not. But if you're to be good at chess, the way I imagine it, using my experience as a trader, is that I'd be looking at the chessboard and thinking, where do I gain ground? Where do I give up some ground? Like, how is this going to work so that I get through to the final destination? When everybody else is going to be thinking, like the onlookers are like, oh, he just took his knight. Did you see that? Did you see that? He just took that. And then you're like, whoa, wow. And then he came in from there. Oh my goodness. Actually, that actually needed to happen for us to get from A to B to C, etc. Now, if you're looking at the 1 minute time frame, all you're going to see is like is your pawns moving around. That's all you're going to see is pawns moving around. That's great and everything, but where do we want to be? So can you emotionally accept, etc., like the price is going down to 1078, and where does that leave us in terms of the schema of things, etc.? And when you're looking at this, can you accept that this could be absolutely the case, and where could it be? And as the chess player, you're looking at this and you have to think, like, because your opposition has free will, like, are they seeing it in this way? If they've seen this, because if they see this in this way, and etc., then what's the use? Or whatever, and what could happen? So it's not on it, it's more to do with, it's like any mistake or anything you make in life, it's less to do with it happening. It's more to do with how you respond, right? It's always the way it is with life. Okay, it's always to do with that. So it's not about taking out a new all-time high. It's how you respond when you take out the all-time high. It's not about putting in a low. It's about how you respond so that's always what it is. And then of course, you're being able to sort of see how that goes along the way. And I think that's the same for trading. But we don't care when it comes to this, because I'm just a common ape looking at GME, and I'm just thinking I want this to go up towards I'd be super happy if it went up towards 180. But as the common ape, I've got a big old cheesy smile on my face just seeing it be above 170. Look, I'm super happy for the prices to be 170. I'm not sad seeing them lower. I'm super happy to see them where they are, and I'll be really happy along the way up the way, and I'm not going to like succumb to there'll be reasons like what you'll do. Shall we go find out some reasons? Like, actually, let's do this part together, right? Reddit. Let's go over to the old Reddit and see what the reasons are. Okay, let's find some reasons. Okay, let's find some reasons. Why did Bitcoin crash? Like, we'll just start with that, so that so we just find that one out first. Why did Bitcoin crash? Reasons coming at our faces. Why did Bitcoin crash? No, not 2018. We need to have new reasons, and then we'll ask Reddit in a second why AMC stock dipped. Right. Major cause for the drop today, I believe, is concerned around Tether's requirement tomorrow to declare what assets it has there in reserve to back the peg. Long read below outlining the reasons to worry. Why more people are not talking about this. Woo! Lots of information, all the due diligence that you could shake a stick at, and you know, what do I care? Well, you know, not a jot, because reasons, man, fucking reasons. Anyway, let's get some reasons for AMC today, right? So why did AMC? We'll just go with that, and we'll put it to new, and we'll find some reasons. No offense if anybody's in here that's in the chat at the same time and you see something like that. So let's just see if there is anything that came up for this. So posts today. Is nobody going to talk about it? 8 hours ago, 3 hours ago, 59 minutes ago, a theory of everything AMC won us. Oh, nobody cares. Oh, brilliant. Okay, so the AMC people don't care. I'll just search AMC alone. They don't care that the prices dropped down. That's great. We're all common apes here, right? We're all common apes. Dropped 50k on AMC. You're welcome, apes. Oh, that's great. Downvote this. I couldn't care less. It was never a play. So the apes unite, right? No worries. I have 200 shares at AMC at $10.50, hoping it squeeze. Then I quit my job and taking care of my daughter. She has special needs. Absolutely great. I really want that for you too. Well, fantastic. So you can see how there's reasons. People need reasons in Bitcoin. You don't need reasons in AMC. Let's see which have got the strongest mentality then. Let's just search GME and see if there's reasons for GME right now. Go new on this one. Are there reasons? Reasons. Let's see. Reasons. I don't know. Looks like a few hours back. Oh, right. I'm not very good at the old Reddit. Despite sorting with new, you still have to scroll down because they're not actually sorted by time. Oh, well, so there could be. Anyway, don't worry. GME is red days before, during run ups. It went from. Does the person got a reason? Okay, cool. No reason in there. That's what I like to see. But anyway, you get the point. People like reasons. Normally speaking, there's a reason out there. But we don't care, right? Because the reasons are already clear. Anyway, we just chart it out in advance. I mean, Microvision probably had a reason to come down to this area that we talked about yesterday, which we don't care about as well. But there'll be one in the news, probably. Well, what did it drop down percentage wise? Is it newsworthy? Is that really newsworthy? 7%. Let's find out some reasons. Well, the world's really crap. Wait, Mike, why? Well, here we go. Some reasons. Yahoo's really good for reasons, right? So we've got some reasons coming right at our faces here. Now, bearing in mind that we did this yesterday and whatever and that, but there'll be reasons from today. Reasons, post fact reasons. Let's get some post after the fact reasons. Living in a post fact world, but reasons have always been post fact. No and no. Submit. Right. Go away, please. So what? Microvision revenue plunged. Whatever CEO Sharma said, Microvision's developed program was deliver. Now what? Microvision surged. Microvision's balance sheet strengths. Where are the reasons here? Back to the long-term sensors. Company says that sensors can help improve. Where's the reasons? Friday. Is this old? April the 30th. Oh, those reasons aren't from today. They're from April the 30th. Oh, that's why it fell on April the 30th. Right. April the 30th. That was explaining. That was explaining this crash down there. Oh, that was for those reasons over there. All right, sound fair enough. Right. Great, cool. But everybody, as you can see here with these highs, etc. It does, mate. Thanks very much. With those highs being bearish divergent, coming down here, failing to take out the 618 on this movement down towards, up and down again. These are my reasons. And these reasons are objective and work every time. So like failing to do that, moving back down the way, taking out the 236 and validating that fib and dropping on down the way, reasons, there's reasons which make sense to me, and then we drop down, whatever. I don't really care. I mean, I just don't care. I just don't actually care. I don't have the energy to care. Like, I'd have to focus on so many other stuff. I actually want to just bring up something I talked about yesterday, for example. KCS. It's a shocking one for anybody who's watching yesterday. Wait, no, not on that chart. Bring it up on the big chart. So yesterday we were talking about this one. I'll just catch up with. I'll spend the next 5 minutes talking. Spend the next 5 minutes talking to the chitter chatter and answering anything he's answered. And then we'll say cheerio. So we talked about this yesterday. Go up to the 24-hour time frame. And we said here that we really needed to take out that 236, and we just weren't able to do it. The yesterday's price, and I was saying yesterday, like, this is it, it's make or break time for this one. And it broke, along with the rest of the market at this point, but it broke from an area where it was, it could be seen. So there was a catalyst out there, and where it went down to was the 200 simple here in the 24-hour time frame, and we've seen that across so many of them. And that's just why is there a reason? Well, there's a reason that it bounced from here, and it's because that's where people put orders in at. And there's a reason it dropped from here, and that's because that's where people sold it at. And all the reasons in between are just like, I just don't care about reasons. We'll just jump back over and see how the battle for 1250 Hill's going. Oh, fail. It's failing. That's not. I mean, it's not. Well, in that breakout, it got up here towards. It got up as high as the 18 period moving average, and it wasn't enough. Wasn't enough to see it out. Wasn't enough to see it out. What have we got then instead? Failed breakout becomes a channel. Failed breakout becomes a channel. So that doesn't make it suddenly bullish. We could theoretically anticipate it coming down here and testing our fake out territory after all. Maybe we get a second bite at the cherry. If it doesn't result in just a retest of the breakout. So our first off, we need to see it staying above 1238. Movements down the way, then I suppose we can just sort of reconfigure our thinking towards these sorts of lines. But at the minute, I'm still looking for this to kind of play out along these lines. Still looking for it to play out along these lines. Anyway, so I want that to happen. The battle is raging. Overall, I'm happy enough above 1220. The common ape is happy above 1220. The common ape is happy above 170. Or at 169.39. This could be your little sort of short-term move at the minute, but 24-hour time frame. If we were to go and visit the 200 simple on these charts, by the way, I would see the prices going back down to $71. Here's AMC. If we were to go and visit the 200 simple, and there would be buying at that point, okay, and the reason for it would be reasons, just reasons. That's the reason for it. There'd be buying here on AMC at 633 if we did drop down the way. If you were looking at a catastrophic thing happening, like what happened in crypto today, Bitcoin 24-hour time frame came down to 200 simple, and that's what got everybody in crypto so scared and initiated the things. I mean, if they want a real reason for why liquidations happen across the market, is because the Bitcoin prices were not supported at the 200 simple. If you want a technical reason for why everything else got so badly shafted at a certain time of the day when that didn't happen, then that's it. That was up there at 39, 40k. And we knew about these things in around the 40k region. Right, that's where we are. Might as well keep coming, Rocky Outcrop, and do more learning while we wait for the moon. Exactly, we're just waiting for the moon. I mean, that's all we're really doing. There's like fundamental analysis plays, and we want to dress up. I say royal we. I'm just talking about myself here. Like, I like to dress up when I think about it. It's like being a fundamental play, and then sometimes I like to dress up and be like, no, this is a technical analysis play, and then sometimes I like to dress up and be like, no, this is a value play, like some sort of mixture of the two. Really, what I like to think about it though is that this is actually something that will be analyzed in the future, and people will tell us what it is in the future. That's what I would like to see. This is a new type of play. This is the type of play where you just buy it and hold it, and it goes up because literally there's not enough shares, and we own all the shares and we own the float. It's like a we own the float play, which is cool. That's cool to be a part of. Okay. Yeah, it's our company. We own them. We own them. I mean, we own them. We'll all be watching movies at our AMC theaters. You know, there's other things and of course, you know, playing on our PS5s on the moon in our GME rocket ship moon landing machines made by Banana Corp. But there's this other thing I was thinking about recently as well. Is like, what's the AMC Netflix thing? Remember Netflix wanted to get some AMC and all that, and we've got like, oh, Netflix secret plan to take over AMC, right? You know, it's like, oh, Netflix, they're going to do this thing. They got this secret plan and blah 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 blah. So as part of the Netflix play, the AMC play, perhaps, you know, like kind of trying to aggressively harass the interests that are coming from the Netflix side of things. And for me, that would be a really interesting dynamic to have. I would like to see the AMC's price go up so much because of the massive amount of shares, the bullying power that AMC suddenly gets in terms of company valuations to another are so high that maybe, you know, along the way here, we can buy, you know, we, the owners of AMC, could buy Netflix. I'd like that. I'd like it if AMC had a not so secret plan to buy Netflix, as opposed to Netflix's potentially secret plan to buy AMC. What do we think of that? As the owners of the company, can we maybe get the wheels rolling on that somewhere? Can you take it to whoever, you know, however many degrees of separation here, get it in the ears of the people who need to have it in their ears, so that we can have that as be part of our plan here. We're talking about really adding real depth and value to the AMC company by bringing in that digital powerhouse of Netflix under our wing. We just need to, how many more billions? What's the market cap of Netflix? Market cap in Netflix. Because I think we need to go quite a way to get up to catch up with their market cap. Oh God, everywhere it's somewhere different. 214 billion. 214 billion. AMC. Where's our market cap on this? Why did it just disappear? 5 billion. So we need to increase this by 40 times. So 40 times. So when the AMC prices get to 40 times thing. So when the AMC prices get to $4,000, can we have a general idea that we'll buy Netflix? Could we do that roughly in around about $4,000? Of course, we'll have the trajectory. You know, when we get to $4,000, we're on our way to 10, etc. Can we just start the wheels rolling now, so that when we're there, we don't have to be all like, oh, what do we do with all of our money now that we've got it? You know, I don't want to have to turn up to the meeting and be like, guys, I told you back when the prices were like 10, $12 that when it got to a couple of grand, we'd set up the meetings, etc. We're at 10 grand per share now. Why do we not own it Netflix? I actually hate having to spend what was 6 months ago an AMC share per month. I had to buy like an AMC. I had to spend like an AMC share a month just to watch Netflix, and now we own the fucking thing. Could we not have done it earlier on? Especially when it costs 10 grand per share. It's like feeling that I'm spending 10 grand a month to watch Netflix. I'm not a massive fan of that. So if the sooner we get our plan sorted out for that sort of stuff, the better. We really need to. I don't know. Can we organize an AGM? Get it on the agenda. So I'm still waiting for PC that can actually render more than 1 minute per 12 hours. Really? Yeah, man, it sucks, doesn't it? I've got an alright PC over here. I just decided to go like future proof it. I was thinking the markets will get more and more volatile as people become more and more familiar with trading over the next wee while, and we really sort of, you know, push all of the manipulation out of the window, and there'll be a period over the, you know, the last gasps of it. So I thought I need to get a good processor in there. Bing bong de bing de bong bongs. Yeah, I was just wanting to go up to the top of the tower with my gong and bing de bong bongs. You know how it is. Troublemaker. Memes have more influence than mass media these days. Mass media is the meme. Am I right? Am I right? Yeah. Dead Money All Stars down to 4 people ahead of me for the GPU. Oh man, you're in a queue for a graphic. Wait a minute. Wait. You getting like a really good one, or is it just that bad? Is it just that bad? Wow, the quality meme frequency has dropped massively. That's been a yeah, man. What's with that? Why are the people not producing the memes? Gah, get on the memes, guys. I've never been a meme person. I've not been very good at making them. Otherwise, I'd be contributing. I'm trying to do my part over here. Stray spotting did it already. My phone has more than NASA did. Yeah, your phone has more than NASA did. Yeah, we did it. We've gone to the moon. We went to the moon on less, right? That's the argument you're making there. We went to the moon on less, says mass spectrometer. Yeah, one. You can process 1 minute candles once every 12 hours. That's good enough. We'll still get to the moon on that one. Don't worry about it. Paul Dooley, Jimmy, just watched your vid from last night. Holy moly, love the passion. Fantastic. There you go, Jimmy. Just telling you what Paul Dooley over there says. He's pleased. Vulture Committee, it's a mix of both. It's just that the bad and also mining. What? In terms of memes, you can mine memes. Wait, they're just not mining enough memes. Is it the mean memes have run out? The mean memes of Sweden, right? That's where the mean memes would be. They'd be in Sweden, obviously. Hello, we are in the mean mines. Oh, you found a really funny one there. The internet will love this one. You know, obviously. So anyway, they're not producing anymore. Imagine the type of PC that people use when we really go to the moon. Exactly, man. Imagine it. You know that Lamborghini started to make tractors. Still do. I think they do. I don't know. Dead Money on Stars. Exactly my thoughts, Rocky. Chip shortage hit the news just after I ordered. Oh my goodness. Bloody bastards. The chip shortage. This supposed chip shortage. Let's see how the chip shortage is affecting their price. Which one did you go for? Is it an NVIDIA graphics card or AMD graphics card, right? Might as well bring this into chat. Oh my goodness. It experienced NVIDIA, as is connected, of course, to cryptocurrency. Here we have our canary telling us, uh-oh. We did come down here and just find previous support, etc. Lovely. Big gap on the. I'm kind of exaggerating there. The truth is, it didn't, didn't lose anywhere near as much. Oh God, every Ethereum miner, if they'd taken all of their Ethereum and sold it, and then bought Nvidia shares, they'd be better off. Can you imagine that? Despite the fact that Nvidia's dropped. That's funny in a way. Anyway, which one was it? So we're doing okay over here. Bit of a chip shortage in the middle there, but that's okay. But how's AMD doing? Is either of them really devastated? No, they're also in a similar position overall. The move, it's not good. Obviously, that it's what? Let me see. It's not good that it is currently 40 cents below our ideal sort of entry point on that trade idea that we had if we were to go up big. But then again, if you were thinking about shorting it, then it probably is ideal that it's 40 cents below that. I think these two overlapping trade setups really kind of show you where we are right now with regards to this range. Evidently, there's a range here in terms of percentages of 5 on a 1 minute sort of candles and trading this rapid fire, etc. You could be going in and out of either of these zones, but we're waiting to see because if the sort of the worst case scenario, I suppose, is to pop down to there and then pop up to there and pop down again in terms of those drawings overall, I suppose, etc. But this is what we're looking at because we're really just between a bigger range, okay, so an even bigger time frame. So where do we end up going? Will we go up to here to our all-time is that all-time highs? It's not all-time highs, but it's the top of our range at the minute. Will we get up there or not, or will we go down even further? Because that's where we could go. And at these lows here, you can see that there's good, there's a bit of positivity here at these lows. It's a mixed picture, and that's why we're waiting for this to resolve out the way. So it kind of bleeds up the way. Stochastics maybe say it as good as you need to, that we're just at the neutral line and pulling back at the minute. That's kind of how that is. That's a 50-minute time frame, of course. 24-hour time frame, on the other hand, and you start to get a bit of the bullish divergence in the MACD. The RSI, the stochastics is, it's twisting around there because the stochastics, as greater impacted by oscillations in the market. Is kind of twisting around a little bit there at the bottom. So, you know, you're waiting for this story to really come to know where it is, because if it does crash down the way, it's a big fuck off head and shoulders, you know, and like that's not good. And this is where your target would come in at. Mind you, if we go towards the top side, we might not be actually disproving the idea of the head and shoulders until we've taken it at the top end of our range, okay? At which point you would maybe ditch your stop, etc. So you can see how the technical analysis, when the person asked earlier on which time frame is it, it's like, you know, well, I mean, what chess game are you playing and how are you doing it and whatever else. And right now, then, for me to say that it's not ideal for blah, 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 blah to happen in terms of like those two moves that are on the screen there down past these areas does mean that we're quite likely to test the lower area. And those two risk management zones would be how I would maybe be looking at this myself in terms of where I'd be trading at, as opposed to necessarily where the other chunks are for right now, for here now. Whatever, you can't literally take your brain and draw it on chart in front of people. It just doesn't work, unfortunately. That was a bit of fun. Rocky Outcrop, that's insane swings. That's right. It is. Feel free to push through 200 like resistance. Yeah, just push through it like resistance. Yeah, that's right. Just push right on through. Almost a monthly cycle between 550 and 625. Yep, that's right. That's what you get with big ranges, you know. So we really are waiting for that to play out overall. If like if it can actually push on past either of those zones, then we get a change in market conditions. Otherwise, the market just gets what the market expects. You know, the market gets what the market wants. Sometimes the market wants it up the bum, and that's what happened in Cryptoland. Tracepawn, is that the new chimney sweep? I don't know. Jokadema. Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't get it, is what I was saying there. Woo! I won a chess game. I'll become a TA Grandmaster now. TA Grandmaster. This is like when you said that, it's like it's reminded me of this. You can't hear it maybe at home, but you get the reference. The title says it all, right? Where is it? Where does he say it? Where does he say it? I don't even care. He says it somewhere in like here. Somewhere in here, he's like, this guy says that guy something. Then he opens up his eyes and he goes something along the lines of, come on, hurry up. I got my desktop audio on. It's just too low. He said, there you go, lip read it. So that's that bit. That's what that reminded me of. Glorious, beautiful. Thanks for saying that comment. It was a good laugh. We were all there with me, right? Sound or no sound? We've seen that. Lol says Vulture Committee. Good, nice one. Matrix Time says Vulture Committee. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I know TA. Dum 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 dum. Right. So what are we doing here again? It's like I'm what, 2 hour and 55 minutes into the stream, right? That's cool. It's going to be a 2 hour stream, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, 2 hour stream, right? So this last 5 minutes is the last 5 minutes. No big we choose to go to the moon emotional speeches at the end of this episode. We've had a calm day today, a really calm day today while chaos has ensued in the markets. It's one of these things that I like to do on the channel from time to time. Is what I really like to do on the channel, as long-time subscribers know, is to try and move the charts, but actually just draw arrows instead. That's what long-time subscribers know. Anyway, the other thing I like to do on the channel is to remain calm in the face of extreme market conditions, just to show you that this attitude is possible to be had, and what it goes along with is, you know, preparing in advance, and as well accepting the truth that anything can happen. Anything can happen at any time in the markets, and you might not really believe that, because it's like you kind of have to embrace it to the extent that if you're walking down the street, you think a grand piano legitimately could fall on your head, right? Like that type of thing. You know, and I know, like, what life teaches you is that actually you'll be fine walking down the street. That's what life teaches you. Life teaches you things like shortcuts are the way to success. Life teaches you that a wee white lie on your CV never hurt anybody. What life teaches you isn't anything can happen at any time, and that really, you know, all the other lessons we've been teaching you so far will get you fucked in the market. That's not what life teaches you. Life is set up for in a really particular, well, I'm speaking here for perhaps just Western cultures, etc. I don't know, I can't speak for all of mankind, but I can say the world that I grew up in, and from the books and information and research I've done, the world that other people grew up in, such as Mark Douglas, who grew up in America. So I would say that at least here and there we've got that connection. That life doesn't teach you that. Well, life, and as well, Bill Williams, he was an American, also said this thing. And actually, I think every single successful trader ever as well. And they come from all around the world, so I'm pretty sure that we are united on this one. But life doesn't teach you the lessons you need to learn to be good in the markets. Okay, it actually teaches the opposite. It teaches you lessons you need to learn if you want to give your money up to the markets, which is the way they work. You know, it's the same thing as. It's the same thing as so many. I mean, you can just pull metaphors out your arse, can't you? Really, I mean, for fuck's sake. Like, it's the same thing as tennis. Whenever we saw that the increasing serve speed over the last 10 years has resulted in people actually standing much closer to the baseline than they used to in the 1990s, as an example, right? Perfect example is exactly it, you know. But you know, whatevs. Anyway, how long we got? Oh, line at last minute. Well, we did that. Chat is good crack, says Griffin. Thanks so much, pal. Sunjo Kojak gives metal as Fook and a thingamajig, whatever that's called. Like to hear read that out one day. To Alexander, Rocky Outcrop, you have your own type of trading, long, middle, or short term. Mate, I'm a discretionary trader. I've been at it long enough to be able to just kind of choose to do what I like to do. I generally speaking at any given time have some long-term trades on and some short-term trades. I have some spot trades that I do. I use leverage at times. Sometimes I use extreme leverage. I mean, I'm all over the place when it comes to it, and not over the place like as in like, you know, the spaghetti, you know, the whole farewell to arms reference that we were making before, not like that, but along the lines of kind of, you know, it really depends, you know, and it's across all sorts of different bridges, you know, and even at the minute, I also have the whole common ape strategy of just holding on to GME shares and really not giving two flying Fs what actually happens to the prices. Being fairly confident that even if they drop down below my particular entry point, that I wouldn't really care that much. Okay, I kissed goodbye to that money whenever I got it. Yes, it's up 600% from where it was before. I'm not taking that 600% profit. I'm waiting for much more. All good on that front. Spencer Birth, Ryan Cohen just tweeted a heart. Ryan. We love you, Ryan. Let's go remind him. Just real quick. Yeah, everybody can like my heart reply to him, but I want to also put in my link to my song where I talk about how we like him. Because we like him. Right? Wait, this is the wrong. I want the share. If I just get the button, give me the link. Oh my god, how hard do they want to make this? Right, tell you what, we'll just go tell Ryan Cohen that we like him, okay? Right, Ryan Cohen, come on, Ryan, where are you, buddy? Aw, gonna reply. I'm gonna just say we like Ryan Cohen. We like Ryan Cohen. We've even taken up eating chewies. That exists on Twitter if you want to give it a heart. If you don't, it's okay. But I'd like it if you did, because me and Ryan, we're going to be buddies together. We're going to be running off into the sunset, holding hands in a field of daffodils, the birds chirping and flying off into the heavens. It'll be pure celestial. Oh, like Jamie's art reply. Let's go find Jamie's heart reply. I'll just, how am I going to find Jamie's heart reply? How do people find replies? I'll click on his heart. Click on his heart. Right, click on his heart. And then, damn, I should have put a heart on. I'm such a fool. Right, Jimmy's got 11, like 14 likes for TradeSpawn. Mine's got 1. Yeah, you don't go making jokes when people are when people are sharing hearts. You don't go making jokes. Damn it! Damn foolishness. Should have put a heart on it. Can't believe I didn't. My emoji game is so lacking I didn't put a heart on that. Can you believe that? You made my living room semi-famous on Twitter, Rocky Outcrop. Yeah, man, your living room looks great. Looks great. Couple of little bits, though. I mean, you know, let's critique it. Scott, come on, let's be honest. Let's be honest with your living room. There are some angular issues here. There's some angular issues here. One of these angles is not like the other. I'm thinking that your TV is lined up perfectly. It lines up pretty good with that. And of course, you know, but this picture here on the left, man, that picture, the lower of the two pictures, it needs to be straightened. Straightened. I wonder how many people's OCD got tickled with that one. I had a wee smile when I noticed that myself. Actually, I'd had it on my Twitter for like 4 hours, and I was like, wait a minute. Sheesh, traffic was awful this morning. I wish I had a Tesla. You wish I had a Tesla? I wish I had a Tesla. I wish I had a Tesla. Yes, exactly. I wish I had a rabbit in a hat and a bat and a girl I could call her. I don't actually wish I was any taller, though. I'm 6'3", and that is nice. Is the right height to be? Is 6'3" the perfect height? Just ask Google. The ideal male height, this is the first time I've ever done this, according to women, and the minimum height to be considered a tall guy. However, anything between 6 and 6'3" is the ideal height range for adult men. Oh, thanks, Google. Thanks. Whoop, whoop. I knew it would be. I knew it would be. I knew it would be. It is lovely. It is lovely. That's... Yeah, no, not me. Not me. I don't wish I was any taller. I don't wish I was any taller. I'm right there. Ideal height range. Ideal height range. You don't want to be 6'4". Rank 6'4". How unideal. Spencer Birth, maybe his right leg is shorter than his left, so it works out. Oh, that's sad. I don't know who you're talking about there. No, wait, you made no, I don't know. No. His right leg, his left leg, they're the same length. Why are there no chimney sweeps in Scotland? Why pay for something that Santa does for every year for free? Yeah, good question, man. Good question. We need to get in on this. We'll not divert too much of our attention away from you know, trying to buy Netflix and all that, but we need to get some of our apes investigating why people does it. Part of the reason is because they do recommend that you get your chimney swept twice a year, but I don't know. Your feet will always be cold in discount hotel beds. That's a nice piece of wisdom from Sanjo Kojak. I wish I was thinner, says Scott Baker. Well, that's not part of the song. Stop singing it. You can't wish that. You're not allowed to. Ideal height range. Looks in mirror. Ah, shit. Trees Johnson. Rocky just lost 45-inch male viewers. Short people got no reason. Short people got no reason. Short people got no reason to live. They got little hands and little eyes, and they walk around telling great big lies. They got little noses and tiny little teeth. They wear platform shoes on their nasty little feet. Yeah, well, I don't want no short. People don't want no short. People don't want